We will get started. गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आन शृण्वन्नोतिभिः श्रीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्यवत् ॐ गणेशाय नमः ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये वागीशाद्याः सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्या स्युः तं नमामि गजाननम् वक्रतुंड महाकाय कोटिसूर्य समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ शन्नो मित्रश्यं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिम् द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदि साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि नमोऽस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं यस्य सन्निधि मात्रेण सर्वे शिष्याश्च सेवकाः कर्मक्षेत्रे प्रवर्तन्ते चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहं चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम्. Welcome back everybody to our class on Bhaja Govindam. As we know now, Bhaja Govindam is a Prakarana Grantha. Just to quickly recap where we are, it is also called as Moha Mudgara. It has a total of 31 verses. And it is a Upadesha Vakya from Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji. Mainly, this text helps in developing the dosha drushti, as we see, the defects of the world, and to develop what we call in Vedanta as pratipaksha bhavana. The text helps us to develop vairagya. Then we went into the life story of Shankaracharya ji, how he, in a short lifespan of 32 years, he brought in the national integration and revival of the Vedic culture by establishing 4 matas in the 4 corners of India. He revealed the truths of the Upanishads by writing elaborate commentaries on Bhashya on the 10 major Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita. Then we took a vihara in the garden of his Advaita, taking a sample of each of these shlokas. Then we entered the text with our first shloka. Let us chant that. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshate dhukrung karane. Nahi nahi rakshate dhukrung karane. He reminded us in this shloka to seek Govinda. That is the main purpose of our human birth. We pondered on a lot of points in this first shloka, how we have infinite goals in our life, and we need to make infinity as our only goal in life. We saw the meaning or the representation of the word dukrung karane, or grammar in this shloka. Meaning, all of the apara vidya, the secular knowledge, will not help when the time, sannihita kala, comes. We looked at the meaning of Govinda, the meaning of Bhaja. Please look at the recording on the YouTube channel. Ways we can seek Govinda. From the Bhagavad Purana, we looked at Navavidha Bhakti. We saw the detailed meaning of that. Now we'll go to the second verse. Mudha jahihi dhanagama trushnam kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrushnam. Mudha jahihi dhanagama trushnam kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrushnam. Yallabhase nija karmopatam. Yallabhase nija karmopatam. Vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Vittam tena vinodaya chittam. In the second shloka, so the first stanza was advice against name, fame, kirti. And the second stanza was advice not to run after wealth, kanchana. Dhanagama trishna jahihi. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji warned us, free yourself from such agitations. Free yourself from those cravings for wealth. Because it takes effort to acquire, it takes effort to protect. We know it takes effort to preserve what we have acquired. Then there is fear of losing. So we saw a lot of Upanishadic references from Kathopanishad, from Bruhadaranyaka, from Ishavasya, from Taittariya. Manasi vitrushnam sadbuddhim kuru. With dispassion, create those thoughts of reality. Contemplate on that satvastu. Then we learnt about the three desires. Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokeshana. Three desires, and the antidote was Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Then the question came about, how are we supposed to live in this world? Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji says, Yallabhase nija karmopatam. Nija karma upatam vittam vinodaya chittam. Be content with what you have. We went through the details on the karma siddhanta, how we get our karma pala and all that. I suggest we go through the YouTube channel on that lecture, on that verse. Let's go to the next verse that we explored. Nari stana bhara nabhidesham društva maga mohavesham. Nari stana bhara nabhidesham društva maga mohavesham. Etan mamsavasadi vikaram. Etan mamsavasadi vikaram. Manasi vichintaya varam varam. Manasi vichintaya varam varam. See, in the previous verse, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji advised the seeker on kirti and kanchana, not to go after fame, name, avoid insatiable thirst for wealth. Now he is cautioning the seeker that we explored in last week's class on Kamini, Nari Stanabara Nabhidesham. Seeing that female form, do not fall prey to it. Moha Avesham, a maddening delusion, as though taken over by evil spirits. That female form is nothing but Mamsa Vikaram, a modification of flesh, blood, bone marrow, fat. We called it a leather bag. Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam. Think again in your mind. We learned that in the last class that it was advised not just for men, but to avoid this natural attraction to the opposite sex in general. That was the warning. He said, Punah Punaha Manasi Dosham Chintaya. We saw that quote from Viveka Chudamani, Virajya Vishaya Vrata Dosha Drushtya Muhur Muhuhu. We analyzed the details in Pursuit of Happiness, Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti Paramananda Prapti. In that we analyzed how the jiva evolves from a Paristhiti-vadi to Karma-vadi through the application of Shreya Preya Viveka towards Atma Gnana, towards Tattva Gnana. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji reminded us in the last verse that the physical contours as just modification of flesh and fat. So avoid this natural biological instinct of getting attracted to the opposite sex. So we explored the Pratipaksha Bhavana to help cultivate that Vairagya, dispassion, and to recognize that life principle which alone gives that sentiency to that Stula Sharira, that inert body, that Jadavastu. So that the three W's, wine, women, and wealth, which are the natural distractions, we need to flip that to three M's, what we call as the M&M's of Vedanta. Manush Durlabam Trayame Vaitat Deva Nugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Samshrayah. The M&M's of Vedanta, the blessings that we have, we need to flip that. W to M. Now, let us enter the fourth verse today. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam. Tadva jivitamati chapalam. Tadva jivitamati chapalam. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam. Tadva jivitamati chapalam. Vidivyadhyabhimanagrastam. Vidivyadhyabhimanagrastam. Lokam shokahatam cha samastam. Lokam shokahatam cha samastam. Bhaja Govindam. Bhaja Govindam. Govindam bhaja mudhamate. That is a repetitive chorus shloka. Now to the meaning of this. As the water drop playing on a lotus leaf, it has such an uncertain existence. In that same way, life in this world is exceedingly uncertain, unstable. We need to know that this world is full of disease, conceit, riddled with unhappiness and grief. That is the summary meaning of this shloka. Word to word meaning: Nalini, Nalini, Dala, Gata, Jalam. That water droplet that has fallen on that lotus leaf, Ati Taralam, very unsteady. It wants to go back to its source. Tadvat, like that, in the same way. This Jivitam Atishaya Chapalam. This life is extremely uncertain, extremely unsteady, restless, fickle. Vidhi Vyadhi. Please understand, know for sure, this is full of disease, ailment. Abhimana Grastam. Having been caught in this type of whirlpool, Samastam Lokam Shokahatam. This whole world is full of grief and unhappiness. Nalini Dalagata Jalam. Look at that droplet on that lotus leaf. That water droplet on that lotus leaf, Ati Taralam, is extremely unstable. Tadvat Jivitam Atishaya Chapalam. So also is this life, unstable, unsteady, uncertain. Here, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is giving us the Pratipaksha Bhavana in regard to the life in general and the whole world. He is helping us to realize that life in this world is fleeting. Temporary, uncertain. So the first half of this stanza, he is painting that picture of mortality of our existence. It is like that drop of water trembling on the surface of a lotus leaf, on the brink of falling off at any moment to return to the water below from where it came. This lotus flower is a very common example used in Vedanta to describe many things. For example, detachment. See, lotus flower grows in filth, but it is unaffected by its surroundings. Bhagavan Krishna says, once we realize that the self in me is the self in all beings, that oneness, he also uses that lotus comparison in the 5th chapter, 10th shloka, Padma Patram Iva Ambhasa. He says you will remain untouched like that lotus leaf. That is an example that he uses. But in this example, Shankaracharya ji is using this water drop on that lotus leaf, comparing its uncertain existence to our own life's uncertainty, so that we focus on the right priorities and not postpone seeking Govinda. Vidhi vyadhi abhimana grastam. This entire world, he says, is consumed by disease. Vyadhi abhimana grastam. Filled with conceit, deceit. Samastam lokam shokahatam. He's painting that picture that this whole world is full of misery. Dissatisfaction is guaranteed, we said. Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also says, Dukkhalayam, Ashashwatam. So in the second half of the verse, Bhagavan is saying this world is pain-ridden. So in the second, one might ask why? So that we start to see the defects in the world. We start to develop that pratipaksha bhavana. So because life is so uncertain, the engagement in this world is temporary. It leaves us with a sense of dukkham. So the general import of the verse is that there is no time to waste. Bhagavan Buddha also made the statement, Sarvam dukkham, sarvam kshanikam kshanikam. This whole world is filled with misery. This whole world is momentary. Kshanika. Even this short span of existence of our lives, it is riddled with diseases of the physical body, agitations of the mind. Nevertheless, what do? We allow all the time and effort to be consumed in merely sense gratification. Sense objects trying to eke out that momentary happiness. This is absurd. There is a striking metaphorical story in Mahabharata. In that story, there is a hunter in the forest. He is about to fall into this deep well. He is hunting a tiger and chasing it, but accidentally slips, and he is about to fall into this deep well. He somehow manages to get hold of a branch of a tree to avoid that terrible fall. Under the weight of this hunter, the branch of the tree is giving way. And below in the well, when you zoom, there is this huge snake waiting for its prey. As he is falling, he happens to bump into a beehive in the tree, which is disturbed. These bees swarm around him, stinging his face, stinging his body. In that precarious condition, halfway down the deep well, he observes a few drops of honey dripping from that beehive. What does he do? He greedily puts out his tongue to taste that honey. That is the metaphorical story that we are all in. Similarly, our existence in the world, life may come to end at any moment. Vidhi vyadhi abhimanagrastam, filled with uncertainty, filled with trouble, but we do not yet hesitate to go after sense objects to gain that momentary happiness. No doubt, sense pleasures will produce a momentary joy. But this narrative should help us think over and appreciate how temporary it is in the larger scheme of life. Because we are always agitated by the worries of the past or the anxieties of the future. There is no time for Bhagavan. Therefore, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, in this shloka, is giving us advice to forget the false imagination that life is dependable and start this quest for self-knowledge now. By this analysis of this verse, we now know that the world is full of misery, physical disease, mental conceit. We also know from our previous study that the heaven and the worlds are also, other worlds are also transient. So it is time for us to start that inward journey. With that much on this shloka, on this verse, let us go to the next verse, verse number 5. Yavat vittoparjana saktah, yavat vittoparjana saktah, tavan nija parivaro raktah, tavan nija parivaro raktah, यावद् वित्तोपार्जन शक्तः तावन् निज परिवारो रक्तः पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे यावद्वित्तोपार्जनशक्तः तावन्निज परिवारो रक्तः पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते. Now we'll go to the summary meaning of this shloka. So long as man is fit, this is a warning for all of us grihasthas. So long as man is fit, able to support his family, he has the ability to earn wealth. All the other family members are around him or her. They show affection. But once the body becomes old, infirm, no one at home cares for him, even has a word with him. Yavat vitta uparjana saktaha. See, having given us the lessons as to how to avoid distractions in life and to become a disciplined sadhaka. Here, Shankaracharya ji, he gives us a lesson that life is a passing phenomena, unstable and uncertain. Let's go through the word-to-word meaning. Yavad vitta uparjana saktaha. So long as we have the power to earn, acquire wealth, able or capable, shaktaha. There are two readings, saktaha, shaktaha. Stavan nija parivaraha raktaha. His own family members till then are attached to him or attached to her. Paschat, later, jarjara dehe jivati. While living, when life is there without earning, when the body has become old, infirm, vartam kopina pruchati gehe. Gehe, in that house, at our own homes, when you are in that old body, nobody inquires. Nobody asks, how are you? So in this verse, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is cautioning the material world is riddled with pain and sorrow. He said that in the previous verse. He cautioned not to waste our precious time in sense gratification. He told us to give up that fascination for the small momentary joys of the world and turn inward. Seek eternal bliss within. So in this verse, he's giving us one more reminder that those who say, what about my family? My relationships? Our Pujya Guruji, Swami Tejomayananji always used to say, that is why they are called relatives, because they are not absolute. They keep changing. Yavat vitta uparjana shaktaha or saktaha. As long as we possess the capacity to earn wealth, tavat nija parivaraha. So long your dependents, your relatives will be with you. That is what Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is cautioning. Like they say, when you have the power of the purse, or in general, when you have the ability and fame, there will be followers. Mind you, only because of our wealth and fame, this is true in a household, this is true in an organization, any organization. Like even in the military, they carry these titles: general, brigadier, colonel. They get a salute as soon as they're seen. Moment they retire, they have this RETD next to their name. I don't know whether even they get a salute. So it is well known that money is respected in this society. That is why even in marriage, we say matrimony. It is a matter of money. However, paschat, afterwards, as age advances, the capacity to earn diminishes, reduces. They say we are on a fixed income. The company you have worked for so long, you thought loyalty pays, but the first opportunity to downsize, who gets targeted? The one over 50. They know that jarjara dehe jivati. Your body is aging. It is infirm. You're a liability. You have more healthcare costs. All the joints are aching. Some of them we had no idea they even existed until now. They start to remind you every night with aches and pains. At such a phase, Varta Kopina Pruchati Gehe. No one cares to speak to you at home. See what Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is doing? He is giving us a realistic reminder to all of us, to give us that reality check, that wake-up call. Unfortunately, we live in this world where money matters. That Vittarjana Shaktaha should be taken with a holistic meaning. Meaning the power to earn and save is inclusive of all the powers, a possession of power. Unfortunately, that is all that matters. Whether it is in a secular institution, even in a spiritual institution. If you are a big donor, you are given respect. Otherwise, you are sidelined. As they grow older, the power to earn money and in turn respect is lost with age. What happens? One is treated at that phase with indifference, neglect, and even contempt. By who? By even the near and dear ones. So realizing this, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is reminding us that we should bear in mind, even while we have the capacity to earn, that in spite of all secular achievements, whatever they may be, they are all trivial, they are all transient, should never be the main objective of life. When we come to this stage in life, we can turn that avoidance from others as a blessing to maintain more solitude, ekanta. In one of the texts of Shankaracharya ji called Sadhana Panchakam, he gives an instruction. Ekante sukham asyatam. In solitude, live joyously to seek the higher. Eka anta, the end goal, the point of attention. When the mind is firmly established in that single altar, in our deep contemplation, that is ekanta. There is peace and joy. This should help bring that sense of urgency here and now. While we have our faculties intact, while we are still efficiently functioning. Like they say, forewarned is forearmed. Here Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is warning that before the world rejects you, you disengage. You retire to a much richer world of contemplation and more self-engagement. One more warning comes in the next shloka. We will just chant for today and we'll see the deeper meaning in the next class. Yavat pavano nivasati dehe. Yavat pavano nivasati dehe. Tavat pruchati kushalam gehe. Tavat pruchati kushalam gehe. Gatavati vayau deha paye. Gatavati vayau deha paye. Bharya bibhyati tasmin kaye. In this one more warning shot, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji says, when one is alive, when the prana is intact, every family member, kushalam gehe, they'll come and inquire kindly about your welfare. But when the prana stops and when the soul departs from the body, even your own wife, when the body starts to sink, she says, get rid of it. Bharya bibhyati tasmin kaye. We will explore that in the next class. Om Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrutyorma amrutam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all see auspiciousness. May none suffer. Om, peace, peace, peace. Now we'll open it up for Q&A.